Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. My name is Ann Pinkva, joined as always by the lovely Deplorable Knitter. And we have an extra special show this week because we are joined by Haley Durocher and also our first non-knitting guest. So big round of applause. Anyways, Haley, so nice to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So for as many of our viewers may not be familiar with what you do, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah, so I am the owner of Sweet Sequels. My business is a bookish merchandise store. I paint literary themed paintings, and then I make them into different products like blankets and shirts and bookmarks. And I have illustrated books and mugs and yeah, all sorts of things.
It's all watercolor painting, am I right? Or is it?
It's acrylic.
Acrylic, sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so about how long have you been running your business? Thereabouts.
I opened my business in 2013, so it's been 7 years.
All right, awesome. So you've been doing this for a little bit now.
Yes.
And how I first heard about you, unfortunately, was that like many people that we've had interviewed before in the knitting community, that you had been canceled in the Bookstagram community.
Yes.
So yes. So tell us a little bit about what's the Bookstagram community about. In the knitting Instagram community, we have popular designers, we have popular yarn sellers, and we have the cool thing to make this year. But how does that translate into sort of a different interest, I guess?
Yeah, so Bookstagram there's a lot of people who just post photos about the books that they're reading. And so it's very book centered. So there's the people who read the books and post the reviews and whatnot. And then there's also the bookish merchandise sellers. And it's very, I think as a lot of social media, it's very like leftist leaning, people are very loud about it, which can get annoying, but
yes. Well, and especially I mean you do a lot of things with very classic literature, and classic literature, unless you try real hard, isn't very leftist.
Right. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. And so in Bookstagram there's also kind of the different segments for genres. So there's like, I think probably the biggest one is YA, young adult fiction. And those people I think those people are the ones that like kind of came after me when I got canceled.
Right.
Most of my following is like classic literature, but.
Right. Which is a pretty, I would say probably a more conservative crowd, but I have to remember the name. There was a BBC radio thing that came out this past year called The Purity Spiral, which talked about just how, I guess, knife in the back young adult novels can be, that if you're not a certain demographic and you write about a different demographic, then you're totally canceled and you're wrong.
Yeah.
So it's harsh.
It's very harsh.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like you look at the knitting community, you think, oh, it's going to be a lot of nice people making nice things, and you say Bookstagram and you talk about, oh, people post pictures of their books, they post pictures of their literature centric products, and you think it would be kind of, it's very similar in the way that you would expect it to be like, oh, hey, we're all making nice things and doing nice things together, and then no, we're going to stab you in the back. It's not what you would expect at all from that.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. There's like a dark underworld that you never expect there to be.
Yes. And it's
Ev-
funny because, you think of knitting, you think of nice ladies, you think of nice
Mhm.
ladies reading, and then you find out that they're all just social justice warriors wearing a book cover.
yeah, just wanted to be, take a picture of my tea strategically placed with my book in peace.
What did you do that made everybody angry? Or did you
Back
do
in-
something, or did you
Oh,
not?
I did. I mean, I was probably asking for it, but
You just wake up one morning and you're like, yeah, I'm going to make a lot of people mad today.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, I got so tired of it. I posted back in June. I posted just a pro-life post, and I've always been openly pro-life on my Instagram, but and people have come after me before, but because I posted something pro-life right in the midst of the BLM stuff and talked about, Margaret Sanger and her history with Planned Parenthood and how she's a racist. People, they said like the reason why they had to cancel me was because I had co-opted the BLM movement, and I was using my platform to co-opt the movement, like whatever that means. As if,
Well,
yeah.
what it means is that you said stuff that is factually true and they couldn't do anything else, so they canceled you, is really what happened.
Yeah.
How dare you come with facts?
I know, how dare I?
How dare you take the entire movement, stick it under your arm, and walk away with it?
I don't think the one person is capable of co-opting a movement, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's funny how, so you apparently chose not to post a black square and that kind of thing, and so therefore you are in the wrong think.
Yeah,
camp.
Wrong thing.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm sure that a lot of the, oh, well, you just co-opted the BLM movement was part of the kind of pushback, the all lives matters, the babies' lives matters, the, hey, if you want to say Black Lives Matters, you ought to look at the entire situation and not just a portion of it.
Yeah, that was my point. Yeah.
So after you posted that, and people were coming after you, what happened? Like, what was the direct result of that happening?
Well, so on the post itself, the day that I posted, or I think it was the next day, yeah, no, it was like the next day or the day, like 2 days later after I posted it. Because at first when I posted it, I was like, wow, I can't believe like nobody got mad at me for posting this. Things were like pretty silent. I was kind of surprised because I was expecting a little bit of pushback. But then I guess what happened was that somebody on Instagram I don't think she followed me, but I think she followed me in the past, and then stopped following me because I was pro-life. And then I think these people just kind of stalk my page to see, what she's saying now. Like, she's saying anything that we need to go after her for. So anyway, this girl got
Reasons
on Twitter.
Can I hate her today?
Yeah, exactly. So this girl got on Twitter, and there's I think the way that the dark Bookstagram world works is that they get on Twitter and start and badmouth people and start drama on Twitter, and then the people on Twitter, all the bullies on Twitter, will come back onto Instagram. So that's how it blew up. I got thousands of comments, people calling me racist, and most of these people didn't follow me. They're not people who are who even know anything about me. But they post in their stories that I was just slander, and I had people emailing different subscription boxes, all the subscription boxes they knew, telling them to not work with me because I'm a racist, and emailing and messaging all my followers and telling them to unfollow me, and yeah, it was just madness. And then I got dropped I was doing a collaboration with BookBox, and they terminated the collaboration and posted about me basically being a racist. I'm like, thanks. You're like, just called me a
Wow.
racist to your 100,000 followers. No big deal. But anyway, I had a podcaster share my post, Ali Stuckey. I don't know if you guys follow her or know about her.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she shared my post on Twitter and on Instagram. And so I ended up getting a lot of new followers because she shared my post. And so I ended up gaining a lot of followers. With all of it. I lost a lot of followers too. But
Right.
yeah.
And especially when, there is a definite financial connection to a certain, like you said, with the book box and everything.
Yeah. But I wasn't too concerned because I was like, half the people who see their post are going to look at my post and be like, okay, what she said makes sense because nothing I said was racist. And, the other half of people have their preconceived notions and their biases. And so they're going to have their opinion. And there's nothing I can do to change it, even if I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Might as well come out
I know
swinging.
what you mean. Yeah, and it's just really so something similar happened to me June of 19. So it's been a while now, but I was pretty much a xenophobe, a homophobe, a racist.
Yeah.
Pretty much any ist that you could call me,
Mhm.
I was called. And it's not so much the words because I know who I am and I don't really care. But it's them like blasting it out to everybody on
Yeah.
earth, and you can't do anything about it. That's the part that's so, you don't want to lose money or lose business or, those kinds of things. But on top of it, they're saying these awful things about you, and like,
Yeah.
there's no way to fight it. But it's just the utter madness that these people just, they don't like what you say, so they're going to go and just blast it out to everybody they've ever come across. I mean, when it happened to me, there were lists of my followers passed around saying, hey, if any of these people follow you, block them and
Yeah.
educate them. And it's absolute lunacy. And then they go and say that we're the ones that are doing the wrong thing. And I'm like, but I never passed around a list of anybody.
Mhm.
Like, it's just really hard to, when you're a rational person, it's hard to wrap your head around those things. It's like,
Yeah.
but more than any of it, it's the name calling and they purposely say things that you can't do anything about. That makes it the most difficult because you have no recourse.
And that's why they do it, because
Yeah.
they want to destroy you. And that, I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
You can hide behind a screen and you can say anything you want. Like, these people would never say these things to me, to my face, if we were face to face,
Exactly.
And it just
But they
boggles me
feel
that
cool.
that people that people would do that. Like, you don't know anything about me, and you can say these horrible things about me. Like, I could never imagine doing that to someone, even no matter what they said online. Like, I can't fathom a situation where I would behave that way.
Right. And the thing about like trying to ruin people's businesses, I mean, I understand that that's their MO, but I'm so Etsy censored me. So now I have a lot of people who are like, well, I'm not going to shop on Etsy anymore. I feel like that's their prerogative. If if people are so comfortable going there, that's fine. But I'm not going to make it my life mission to go and ruin them because they censored something I put out there. And that's, I think that's a fundamental difference, is that we tend to be live and let live, and they want to, tear everything down around us until we've got nothing. And it just, what purpose does it serve?
Oh, and also the idea of, like, I may not like you, but woohoo, if you're doing well in your business or whatever, okay, you just do you over there. But it's no, I don't like you and I disagree with you and I think you're evil and you're everything that you have built up needs to burn now. Like, that's sort of like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah,
Like,
we went from
that's
you
a
not
deeper
liking
problem.
my post. Yeah. We went from you not liking my post to emailing everybody I've ever done business with. And that,
the
has the
tediancy
time?
of that. Yeah. Who
I know. Who has the time? That's what I want to know.
I know.
I like to
It's
tell my haters that they should take up knitting because they obviously need a hobby.
Yeah, read a book. Like,
yeah,
They,
read more.
they don't find it that amusing. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's how I
definitely.
cope.
And I saw on your page recently that on Facebook that people were leaving you bad reviews intentionally. And yeah, how did that pan out?
yeah, actually, that was spurred on by. So I have a pro-life Instagram page that I recently started, and I shared a post that I made about Kamala Harris. I shared that on my personal Facebook page, and
Right.
it was public. It was a public post because it wasn't anything personal. It was just from my Instagram page. And I guess it must have been shared somewhere on Facebook, because suddenly I got all these people commenting on it. I just got hundreds of comments, and this is on my personal Facebook page. And I'm like, dude,
Right.
like, don't harass me here. If you want to harass me about abortion, like, do it on my Instagram page. But people are like, no, like, we don't want to make you famous. I'm like, I'm not gonna, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, so I guess they these people were on my personal Facebook page commenting on that post, and I guess they went and looked at my profile and saw that Sweet Sequels is my business, and so they left these reviews on my business Facebook page. I'm like, what? Why? Why do you care enough to do that?
Well, I
Right.
think that people don't
And
have
you-
enough to do. They
That's
have too much
true.
time on their hands.
They're
And
not
they-
working
the
because
being-
of COVID.
Exactly. And being behind the screen makes them invincible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got a screen name and nobody can find you and gonna go to town, whatever. So it's craziness though.
and they didn't even have the courtesy to buy a print before trashing
I
you.
know.
These horrible people.
Come on.
At least they could have done a little.
At the very least, buy something first and then trash me.
It's like, but anyways, and speaking of that, Instagram also, that you had bought some ads there that you were talking a little bit that it wasn't getting the engagement. So when Instagram itself is having issues with you, that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it was weird. I posted, it was a couple days after the election, and I just posted nothing like super controversial, I thought. In my stories, I just posted about, questioning things. Like, oh, this is kind of weird. Things are a little fishy. I think that it's okay to question it. And then
It's been
that
a month
night-
now and it's still weird.
I know, it's ridiculous. But yeah, that night Instagram pulled an ad. I had an ad that had been going for 6 days, and it was for one of my illustrated books, A Christmas Carol. And they deactivated it and said, they deactivated it because it was misleading, is what they said.
Christmas Carol is misleading.
Yeah, yeah.
So my
Keeping
Christmas book is misleading.
Right.
Okay.
Keeping Christmas in your heart, not allowed. Very misleading. Wrong. No.
So
I mean, did you put anything about the election in your ad or
No.
in your
No,
book or
no, there was nothing political, nothing controversial. I'm just trying to sell books here. That's it.
It's like it's a Christmas Carol, but you open it and it's a pop-up of, by the way,
Yeah.
have we questioned the election? And a little sneak in there.
instead of the main characters is Trump hair? Like,
Oh, that's crazy.
so you were misleading people, so they pulled your ad.
Yeah, and I ended up contesting it or whatever, and they did reinstate it after a few days. It's like, well, at least they, can recognize that they can't get away with stuff like that.
Right.
yet.
Right.
But I mean, I feel like my reach has gone way down since I started talking about, every time I talk about political stuff, I don't know, it just feels like they're kind of, stamping down my reach. And I've gotten I don't post political stuff all that often, and I always just do it in my stories. But, I get I'll get these notifications of fact checker things like, oh, if you keep posting this, we'll stop sharing your posts on certain parts of Instagram and yada yada yada. And it's just like,
Wow.
okay. Well, I got notifications like that for things that I had messaged people, like not public, not stories and not posts, but like pictures that I had sent to my friends on Instagram. And they were saying that I was spreading false information, and that if I kept doing that, that they would, limit my reach.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And really creepy.
It's very creepy. Like so they're like actually in your DMs monitoring what you send.
I mean, I'm not that surprised because Big Brother's always watching, but it's still creepy that they'd be like, oh, hey, you can't share that picture with your buddy over there that you.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like if I was sending messages to Anne and then they were like, oh, you can't send her that stuff. We talk like every day. I mean, it's not like I'm just sending them to people.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I have like a support group for other people who've been canceled, and we send stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because I mean I've got little things flagged before, saying like, oh well, this thing that you posted a while ago is, or you had on your story a while ago is, fact checkers say it's false, or this needs a COVID warning, or this needs an election warning. But yeah, I have never gotten a notification that says you can't share this to somebody interpersonally.
Yeah.
Like that's some crazy stuff.
I've taken it to another level.
I've gotten the message saying that if you continue to share false information, your reach will go down. That was particularly when I was doing COVID stuff, but it was all out in public. It wasn't like anything I was like sending to Anne. It was just like on my page or in my stories.
I always, whenever, talking with, people who have been canceled or, so this and that, I always laugh because, there you are, you're so nice, and you paint, you do mugs, and you are the devil. Like this is the person that we need to get rid of. This is it right there, done. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
They said you're literally harming people with your words. Like, no, actually, I'm literally not harming anybody with my words. Literally, I'm not. Never have.
Yep.
It's not actually possible to harm someone with words.
Right.
As I've been saying, the people who don't fall into lockstep are the ones that they just can't stand the people who don't drink the Kool-Aid, who are not afraid to be like, hey, I'm pretty sure that that's not right, and here's why I think that. Like, heaven forbid we have a real discussion about anything.
Or a discussion about grammar that literally doesn't work. Can't say that. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they don't want to actually have like a discussion, they just want to call you names and then leave or keep calling you names.
Before we go on and talk about all the cool stuff that you have,
are there a lot of people so there's been several like pretty notable people in the knitting community that have been canceled. Is it the same with the Bookstagram? Like, have there been several notable people, or is it just starting? You said this just happened, a few months ago. Is it new? Because I know that it's kind of like it hit knitting, and then it kind of went to the quilting, and then it went to like the cross stitchers. So like, it kind of has been rippling across things. Has it been going on a while, or is this a fairly new phenomenon in your community?
There have always been people who like attack businesses for whatever reason, not necessarily like political reasons. But this year, the canceling really like picked up, and like a lot of people around the time that I was canceled, there were a lot of other people who were canceled, not even businesses, but like just people with accounts to review books and stuff, which I thought was weird. You know, there'd be an account with like 2,000 or 1,000 followers, and all they do is share about books, and then like they have people just like ruthlessly attacking them. Like, why? What's the point? You're not even. It was weird, but I mean, yeah, like it's probably starting in like June or like over the summer. Maybe even like before that, like with all the COVID stuff. I think that's when it all kind of started really picking up. And then with the BLM stuff, it was just like a wave. And like now, I would say, I don't know how many like huge accounts have been canceled, but like there have been certain book subscription boxes that have been, you know, canceled for not even just for not saying the right things at the right time, or like including, there is one book box that got canceled because they included a dream catcher in their box, and that was, you know, I don't know, racist
Cultural
or
appropriation.
yes, cultural appropriation. And that was, and you know, they apologized and they're like, they're social justice type people, and yet they still, you know, the people, they got attacked and they got canceled. I don't think it hurt them too bad, but like there's like a definite population of people on Bookstagram who make it their goal to just go out and find people who aren't following the script and pounce when they find those people. I seriously think that that's all they spend their time doing.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with the sudden scandal around J.K. Rowling, how much has, I mean, that's a big selling point, I would think, for, you know, for Bookstagram, for,
Oh yeah.
I believe you have some Harry Potter prints.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that all happened around the same time that I first got canceled. And so then, you know, there was the BLM stuff. So if you didn't post the black square, you were going to be canceled. But then right after that, if you didn't post a post about how homophobic or transphobic J.K. Rowling was, then you're going to be canceled again. Or there's another reason why you're going to be canceled. So if you come out and say, I still like Harry Potter and I'm actually still going to post pictures about Harry Potter or sell merchandise with Harry Potter in it, then, you know, they come and say, oh, you're canceled because you're not allowed to like J.K. Rowling anymore. You're not allowed to like Harry Potter anymore. You're not allowed to post about it anymore.
Right.
And
I've seen some people that, you know, again, knitting, but they have a Weasley sweater and they've knit this for themselves, but they're going to put like a little rainbow square on it, just so you know that even though they're participating in the Harry Potter fandom, they're only doing it entirely out of spite for J.K. Rowling. Like
oh my gosh.
You're allowed to enjoy it only if you can virtue signal that you
Yeah.
really hate her in particular. Like some bizarre twisted, you can only have a good time if you paid your dues.
Yeah, there are people like saying, oh, you can still read the books, but you're not allowed to buy any more books, and you're not allowed to buy any official Harry Potter merchandise. But I mean, if you want to buy unlicensed Harry Potter merchandise, and that, I guess that's okay. But you're still not allowed to post about it, because if by posting about it, you're promoting her work, and that's not allowed. So you can read it for your personal, just for you, but don't ever talk about it again. And don't enjoy it, really. I mean,
Don't you can sit there and privately like a thing, but
yes.
only if you keep your nose in the corner the whole time.
Probably like slap yourself on the wrist after reading it. I shouldn't have done that, and then you're good again.
Anytime that you think you may be enjoying yourself, please have a cleanse session in which you just listen to people screaming about how evil J.K. Rowling is for at least 15 minutes. Rinse and repeat.
Oh, it's hard to keep up.
The activism gets tiring. It really does. And you know, like you said, they will get mad at you about one thing, and then, you know, so they get rid of, in our community, they got rid of all the Trump supporters, like, and then after that, they started going after anybody who like made a thin blue line hat or pattern, or because the police are so bad now and stuff. Like it, you'll never. That's the one thing why I think that Anne and I kind of find it almost amusing now. I mean, it sucks when it's happening to you, but they're always going to find somebody to be mad at. So you might be, you know, you might be one of the golden children now, but you know, just wait until the next thing comes up. Sooner or later, they're going to probably come after you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're never safe. That's why I figured way back. I was like, I didn't post the black square thing. So I was like, eventually at some point, they're going to come after me for not saying anything, you know, because you're supposed to make your like virtue signal post so that they know that you're on their side or whatever. So it's like, I didn't do that. So eventually they're going to come after me for not saying things at the right time. So I might as well just say what I want to say and come out and, you know, be true to myself, and whatever happens, happens. I don't really care about people.
Do it your own
not
way.
liking me.
And
You have more
don't let them
control over
dictate
it.
to you
Yeah.
how you're going to live. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's either you're comfortable with yourself, you just say it now, or later they'll find a little tiny nth of a thing against you and then pile on. So might as well. You're never safe.
Yep.
Even if you agree with them, you're not safe.
Nope. And you know, they call people out, people apologize, and the apology is not right. You said the wrong thing when you apologized. You like, if they don't want you, they're gonna find a way to do it. So the whole trying to make nice with all these bullies is just garbage. It's really all it is. But
even though Instagram has been blocking your ads and everybody else, what Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. So do you have any fun new things that you'd like to show us from your shop?
This is my book, my Christmas Carol book.
It's adorable.
Thank you. Yeah. I have a calendar, a desk calendar for 2021 that I came out with recently. I have like a reading planner. I have the book, illustrated books. So yeah, I have a lot of fun stuff in the shop right now.
is that on your website, or is that on Etsy, or can they find them both places?
That's my website. All my physical products that I would ship to you are on my website. And then on Etsy, I have digital prints of my artwork.
Okay, cool. And I have a question, and I don't know if this is like something people know, but I am not part of the book community. I mean, I read all the time, but I've never like hung out on that part of Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I'm knitting and politics. That's all I see when I go on there.
And I'm the previous homeschool girl. So, you know, like, who Dickens is my lifeblood. Like, I get what you mean. Haven't read Edith Wharton though. Not familiar with her, but
It's so good.
from your stuff, it seems that you're very interested. But I'm like,
But so like when you do the Christmas Carol and you illustrate it, like how does that work? Like, do you have to get some sort of licensing, or is it public domain, or how does, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think public domain starts anything published before 1928, I want to say. So anything published before that, you can do anything with, which is really nice. Yeah.
So you were like, hey, I feel like I've got some cool ideas for Christmas Carol, so I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. So I have 4 books that I've illustrated so far: Pride and Prejudice, A Christmas Carol, and then Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton, and Summer by Edith Wharton. And I'll keep, next year I have plans to do some more. So yeah.
No, I think it's very interesting. The whole like I really want to check out your Pride and Prejudice. I'm not much of a classics person. I have no comparison to Anne, who just quotes all kinds of stuff and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I have no idea what you're talking about, but good. But that one it's up my alley. I want to check it out. So
Anyways, thank you so much for coming on to our show, and it was really great having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now,